Hi guys, so nice to see you again, and thank you for joining me on another Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm super grateful that you're here, and specifically for this message today, because I think this is a message that we all need. And if all of you are fine and just I needed this message, then I'm grateful and I will share it anyways. But imagine there's some of you that are looking for this kind of confirmation or this sense of groundedness. So I'm going to jump into doing a podcast with it as well, because I felt like we should reach that platform also. And welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and today I am bringing through a message that was part channeled and then part conversation, like actual conversation with Archangel Uriel. And it was a surprise to me too. It wasn't I didn't sit down to go and channel Uriel. Uriel actually showed up and was kind of tapping me on the shoulder and was like, hey, I got some stuff I want to share. And it was really it was addressing the high anxiety energies that we're feeling on the planet right now, which is really significant, to be honest. There's a ton of anxiety energy because of the unknown. And I'll get to that in a minute. So he wanted to address that, and he also wanted to address this invitation to return back to the heart space so that we can learn to feel our way through what we are stepping into in the fall time, to bring it back to an opportunity to experience the light instead of focusing on the dark. So again, if we start with the anxiety, there is a big pool that we are swimming in right now, this big anxiety pool. And whether it is global anxiety with the return to school, return to sports activities, return to more openings, or if it's individualized anxiety based on your worry for your own personal health and wellness, because we really have several different levels, although they're all interconnected, because obviously going back to school can have an effect on your own personal wellness, but also those in your community. Right? So the anxiety, though, is hitting people on various levels. And the reason why it is such a heavy anxiety energy, again, also in connection to the full moon we're having really soon on the 2nd, but is because it's dipping into the unknown. And so anxiety energy comes around when we don't know what the source of something is, right? We don't know what the source of an energy is. Just like when I first started channeling spirits in the very beginning, when I first started talking to them, if they came near me, I would experience total anxiety because it was a different frequency my body wasn't used to or didn't understand. And so this anxiety pool that we're all kind of being thrust into right now is, in essence, a dark pool because it is unknown. We don't know what's going to come, at what rate, what speed, as we step into the fall time. We do know that there are more shifts, more surfacings of things, but we don't know exactly what they are, but we can feel the brewing of it. We can feel the shiftiness of it. And the degree to which we will be affected, both as a collective and individually, is going to depend on the choices we make, both on how we speak to ourselves in our mind, how we release things that are triggers and limitations, and also how we act as our personal selves within our communities. So Spirit can't give us an exact outline as to what's going to happen because it depends on our actions. That being said, sitting in a state of anxiety and feeding it with fear is only going to add to the burden that you're carrying, versus recognizing, hey, there's an anxiety, and the anxiety is because of the unknowns. And I can't control the future, but I can only control my thoughts now, and the next thought, and then the next thought, and the next thought as it comes. And so Archangel Uriel really said, as this full moon approaches, which they're saying is a gentle energy full moon, I'm feeling it pretty intensely. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's crazy full moon, but apparently it's a gentle full moon. But the invitation is to come back to the heart space. Learn how to feel again, and learn how to make some of your decisions by feel. So what's happened is we have gone into total logical side of the brain of thinking everything through. And again, I'm not saying don't think things through. Absolutely do. But then also equal that, thinking it all through from A to Z, and then feel your way through from A to Z and see what lines up and what doesn't. Because we need to be able to balance left and right brain. Right brain is all feely based. Left brain is all logical, linear based. And so getting back into that heart space, which is the center point between the two, right? It's where it funnels into. And our heart being our compass will allow us to feel our way through and adapt with flexibility through the fall, through the end of 2020. The more that we can remain adaptable, flexible, and willing to move and ebb and flow as things come and choose accordingly as they come up, then the less pressure we have on ourselves to have it all figured out right now. And so he said this return to the heart space, learning to feel again, isn't just stepping into your heart space to be all like squishy, lovey-dovey, romantic, or opposite of like heartbreak and all this stuff. He said coming back to the heart space is coming back to that centered sense of self, that safe space, that place that is yours, that is your sanctuary, that you can take a minute and you can think with nothing else around you. We all have that within. We just have to remember how to come down into it, right? And so he said, guide yourself into your heart space with the energy of this full moon. As we kind of like stand on this launching point, or at the race gates before the gun goes off and we all start running basically to wherever we're going, is pull yourself into yourself. Get to know that heart space. Feel into it. Look at what it looks like for those that are really visual, or feel what it feels like so that you can continue to come back to this space as you move through the fall and the rest of 2020. Coming back to the space will let you assess what your next right move is. Do the next right thing. And so he said, as more truths are unveiled, and again, truths are always going to be unveiled on, especially in 2020, on a global scale, on a community scale, and always is reflected on an individual scale, okay? If something triggers you that you see externally, it's triggering you for a reason, something you need to either understand, gain awareness of, transmute, release, forgive, whatever that may be within self, so that you are more harmonized, right? So he said these three things as these truths are being unveiled. First, start with your eyes and your ears. So what do you see in the world around you, and what do you hear? Allow yourself the freedom of observation, the freedom to truly look instead of running from what you're seeing. And it doesn't mean, again, you stay plastered to the news and social media and overwhelm yourself by, hear me, if you need a break, please step back and take a break, ground yourself, center yourself. But be aware of what's happening around you. Observe it instead of running from it. Then allow yourself to feel the human emotions of what it's doing for you. What is it triggering? What is it showing you? What is it surfacing within you? Feel it, both the light and the dark, and the humor. If there's humor in there, go for it, right? But what are you feeling? And then after you've acknowledged all of that, he said, feel into the truth and see how does it sit with you. And then that's where your answer of your next right move is going to be. How does this sit with me? Yes, I heard this, and yes, I heard this, but I really feel this when I tune into it, and I'm triggered by this, but I realize that trigger is an old thing. Or I realize this trigger is something that is telling me, don't do it. So when I feel into why I'm triggered, I'm feeling, don't do it. And you don't. Or it's something you need to release, and you do. And the thing is if you kind of look at those 3 steps of how to move through the unveiling of truths, then it doesn't have to take you down, because, and this was his biggest point, he said, we have been focusing a lot on the surfacing of the darkness, right? This surfacing, the darkness what came uprooted, and the source of it is gone, but there is a surfacing and will continue to be. But in the surfacing of darkness, we have to embody light. We have to embody the light, and the light beams the brightest from our heart space. We have to embody the heart, meaning compassion, kindness, care, whatever any of those words, gratitude is a big one, is to embody that. Because when we embody it, we can emit the light in the darkness. And he said, emit the light like the moon does in the dark. It's not blaring light like the sun. You can look straight at the moon. It's not overwhelming. But allow yourself to embody that. And what that really is not living in fear. And so when we often hear the ideas of like, don't live in fear, choose love or fear, sometimes it makes it sound too easy. And it's not about it being easy, but it's about it being a choice. And we can have moments of being afraid, for sure. But then we choose, do we want to stay afraid? Is it serving us to stay afraid? Or is it serving us to step forward, to choose consciously what we want and release the fear energy and move into an energy of consciousness? Remember they said in the last podcast, I think it was, they said instead of seeing it as love and fear or love versus fear, see it as conscious choice versus fear, right? For those that just can't separate mushy love from purity energy. So as soon as you're making conscious choice, you can kind of alleviate a lot of fear, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. And then we're not living in a fear energy, which is just basically adding fuel to the fire of the stress energy and the anxiety pool that we're all feeling right now. So embodying the light, choosing to be the light, to transmute the things that are holding you back and to release them and become your best self. Have compassion for you. Have compassion for those around you that are maybe struggling. And even for those that are wanting to lash out. Why is it they're wanting to lash out? We don't have to love that they're lashing out, but we can have compassion for their soul or their struggle that is causing them to lash out in the first place. I say that as a generalized statement because yes, there's always different reasons in different situations, but I'm saying choose to be light. Choose to be grateful. Choose to be so grateful for the things in your life right now. And as soon as we embody that energy, we become light. That, with adaptability, is what's going to help us move through this fall without the things that come up, without them taking us down and burning us all out so that we're all laying on the couch with adrenal fatigue. We don't want that. We want to thrive through this darkness and shine brighter and brighter so that we transmute the energies and we build this world in the direction that we are wanting to go and in the direction in which all the higher beings are helping to make us move in, which is beautiful. And I'll close with that statement is with all of this personal work that we're doing, one thing that has really shifted is that those of the higher realm are really stepping in to help move this energy, to help move this planet in the direction of ascension that we need to go, because this is not just an ascension of humanity. This is a planetary ascension that Mother Earth decided it wanted to be a part of. It didn't want to repeat past cycles where humanity doesn't ascend. Planet Earth wants to ascend. So the cosmic greater collective of the universe that we're a part of is working to help make this ascend, to clean out this murky pond that we are in. There is so much energy behind us, supporting us in moving forward, and so that's what we're doing right now. So, I really believe that's why Archangel Uriel came through with this message of lightheartedness, of embodying the light, being the light, and not fearing the anxiety energy, because we don't need to take it on. The anxiety is because it is the unknown. And the unknown will become known as we continue to choose each next right step. So as long as you continue to choose, and me as well, as long as I continue to choose my next best step that aligns with my heart, aligns with my integrity, aligns with my soul purpose and where I want to go, and it feels right in my heart, then that's the direction that I move. And I don't need to know what it is 3 months down the road, 3 years down the road. I just need to know what it is right now until it comes up in question again, and then I'll determine at that point, what is it going to be then? So I leave that with you guys. I hope that helps to kind of dampen the fire of anxiety that everyone is feeling. And again, I am not sharing this as if I know all. I'm sharing this saying, I get it. I'm in the water. I feel it. I don't enjoy it, but I'm moving through it. And thankfully, the Archangel Uriel is coming through to explain it, which is really cool. And again, he did this in a really neat conversation. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. I do have much more to share and will continue to be. But for now, be the light and embody your light. I'll talk to you guys soon.